Reading Gadhadā 178. The predominance of place, time, etc. I assume this goes into what place and time we find ourselves in, how it affects our spiritual progress. On Ashad Sudhi III, Samvat 1877, or the 13th of July, 1820, Swami Sri Sahajanandji Maharaj was sitting on the veranda outside the west-facing rooms in front of the mandir of Sri Vasudev Narayan in Dada Ghachaur's Darbar in Gadhadā. He was wearing a white case and had covered himself with a white cotton cloth. He was also wearing a white pug around his head and a garland of white flowers around his neck. At that time, an assembly of munis, as well as devotees from various places, had gathered before him. Sriji Maharaj then said, "All sadhus, all monks, please listen. I wish to ask a question." The sadhus responded, "Please do ask, Maharaj." Thereupon, Sriji Maharaj asked, if the 8 influences of place, time, action, company, mantra, meditation of the devas, initiation and scriptures are favorable, they purify one's mind. But do the samskars, the impressions that remain within someone from lifetime after lifetime, of the karmas performed in past lives, have any influence on these 8 factors? The munis, the scholars, answered, "It seems that the karmas of past lives do play a role. If one's past karmas are favorable, one is born in a favorable place. If they are unfavorable, one is born in an unfavorable place. In the same manner, the other 7 factors of time, actions, etc. are also determined by past karmas. So yes, past karmas appear to play the predominant role in all of them. The 8 influences of place, time, etc. may be predominant in certain circumstances, but past karmas are predominant in all circumstances." Thereupon, Sriji Maharaj questioned, "From what principle in the scriptures do you claim that past karmas play the predominant role among all of the 5 influences? From place and time up to the devas one worships. Please quote any reference from scriptures. After all, only the Jain scriptures, and not in any other, does one find the predominance of only karmas. Other scriptures promote only the predominance of the company of the divine and divine devotees, bhaktas. Moreover, because you advocate the predominance of only past karmas, are those whom are without faith superficially disguised as satsangis, spiritual seekers, or what? This is because no one, except those without faith, promote the predominance of karmas. They believe that the Vedas, the scriptures, the Shastras, the Puranas, and the Mahabharata, and other Ityasas, scriptures, to be mere fantasy. They only accept their own scriptures written in the Magdi dialect as authentic, I don't know what the Magdi dialect is. Thus, it is only out of being a goofball that they promote karmas only. So here, I am interpreting it that Sriji Maharaj is saying, it's more than just where you were born into, what actions you did in your past life when it comes to the spiritual path, that there is an accountability that we have to take in this moment for what we're surrounding ourselves with. If the 8 factors of place, time, etc. vary according to past karmas, then why has the 100 feet deep underground water not risen to the surface for the many pious kings and queens who have been born in the region of Marvad? If the influence of place was controlled by past karmas, then the water table should rise for people who have performed good deeds and fall for those who have not. This is not the case, however, because in the region of Marvad, both pious people and those whom are not suffer from the problem of water being found deep underground. In reality, each place does not lose its inherent characteristics. Thus, place, time, etc. do not vary according to past karmas, to past actions. Therefore, a person who desires their own liberation should not uphold the predominance of karmas in the ways that people without faith do. If the 8 influences of place, time, etc. are unfavorable, they should forsake them and seek only favorable influences. Moreover, just as favorable and unfavorable places exist outside the body, one's body can also be favorable or unfavorable as a place. If the place in the form of the body is favorable, when the jiva, the soul, resides within it, then redemptive virtues such as nobility, contentment, compassion, dharma, etc. develop. However, if the so-called place in the form of the body is unfavorable when the jiva, the soul, resides in it, then vices such as lust, anger, avarice, infatuation, matsar, arrogance, etc. develop instead. Also, favorable and unfavorable company should be distinguished as follows. When no real distance remains at all between one and the person whose company is kept, that is known as true association. Outwardly, even enemies embrace each other, yet their hearts are hundreds of thousands of miles apart. Such outward association cannot be called association. Only association that is kept by thought, word, and deed can be called true association. One should keep such association by thought, word, and deed only with the divine or fellow devotees, as it leads to the liberation of one's individual soul, their jiva. But one should never associate with someone who is a poor influence. Then, at midday, Sriji Maharaj called all of the young student sadhus near and requested, "All of you student sadhus, please ask me questions." Thereupon, Senior Shivanand Swami asked, "How can a person who has unwavering faith in the divine be recognized?" Sriji Maharaj replied, "A person with unwavering faith regards all actions performed by the divine as redemptive. whether they be good or bad, whether God wins or loses, or at times even runs away, whether they show pleasure or grief. In fact, however many countless kinds of actions a faithful devotee witnesses, they say, all actions of the divine are for the sake of liberation. If, whenever the devotee speaks, they speak in this manner only, then they should be known to have absolute faith in the divine. Thereafter, Nirmananda Swami asked, how can a person prevent the development of fault-finding towards the divine and fellow monks? Sriji Maharaj answered, if a person possesses the aforesaid unwavering faith in the divine, then they never develop a fault-finding attitude. Furthermore, when they think upon the greatness of the servants of such a great divinity, they never perceive fault in those devotees either. Then Nirmanand Swami and Junior Pragnanand Swami both asked, how can one realize the form of the divine in all three states of waking, dream, and deep sleep? Sriji Maharaj replied, if the pure samskars, these impressions from one's previous lives, are powerful, then one can constantly see the form of the divine in all three states. If one who constantly experiences fear, lust, or love for something can see objects besides the divine constantly in all three states, then what is surprising about being able to see the divine constantly as well? He can definitely be seen. Junior Shivanand Swami then asked, how can someone with an unfaltering foundation in the Satsang fellowship be recognized? Satsang being an assembly of true spiritual seekers. That is the first question. The second question is, how can the enemies, i.e. egotism, lust, anger, avarice, matsar, jealousy, arrogance, etc., be destroyed? Sriji Maharaj explained, a person who is absolutely loyal to Satsang, to their spiritual community, cannot tolerate in the least someone speaking ill of Satsang. For example, even though one may have had a disagreement with a member of one's family, one would be unable to tolerate anyone speaking ill of them. Therefore, just as one is loyal to one's relatives, if a person is similarly loyal to Satsang, then their foundation in Satsang is unwavering, unfaltering, in fact. The answer to the second question is, if one has such loyalty for Satsang, how can one possibly harbor arrogance, matsar, or jealousy towards any saint or Satsangi, fellow spiritual seeker? Therefore, all of the inner enemies, egotism, arrogance, matsar, jealousy, etc., of a person who is loyal to their fellow spiritual seekers are destroyed. However, if a person does not have such loyalty for Satsangis, for fellow spiritual seekers, and regard Satsangis and Kusangis as equal, Kusangi means someone who they believe to be a negative influence, then however highly they may be regarded in Satsang, they are sure to ultimately fall from Satsang. Then, Junior Atmanand Swami asked, the divine and saints, divine personalities, may boldly tell someone whatever needs to be said with the faith, whether they are praised or rebuked, they will not fall from satsang in any way. How can one earn such trust in the divine and their sant? That is one question. The second question is, how can a person with the affection of all sadhus, just as they have won the affection of the sadhu they are presently staying with, how can a person win the affection of all sadhus? Sriji Maharaj replied, as in the answer to Shivanand Swami's question, if a person is extremely loyal to satsang, to their spiritual community, the divine and divine personalities do not hesitate in reprimanding them. They never lack faith in them. That is why they never feel, if they are reprimanded, they will leave the satsang fellowship. Rather, they have firm faith and believe. Their satsang is firm. Their association with truth is firm, so there is no danger in being reprimanded here. The answer to the second question is, they may leave the person they were previously staying with because they were unable to get along with them, and subsequently go and stay with another person. Despite this, though, they are unable to tolerate others speaking ill of the person they originally stayed with. Thus, all of the sadhus feel, this person is not ungrateful. They are a very good sadhu, very good monk, because they have not forgotten that they are indebted to the person from whom they have learnt even a little. Realizing this, all of the sadhus like him or them. On the other hand, if they leave the person they were previously staying with to stay with another person, and subsequently speaks ill of the person they originally stayed with, all of the sadhus feel, this person is ungrateful. In the future, if they do not get along with any of us, they will surely speak ill of us too. As a result, no one likes them. Thereafter, the Haranand Swami asked, the divine transcends akshar. They are beyond mind and speech, and he is imperceptible to all. Why then can everyone see him as manifest? Sriji Maharaj replied, the divine, who transcends akshar, who is beyond mind and speech, and who is imperceptible himself, out of compassion, resolves, may all the enlightened and unenlightened people on Murtyalok, on the physical plane of existence, behold me. Having resolved in this manner, the divine, whose will always prevails, out of compassion becomes perceivable to all people on Murtyalok. Tyaganand Swami then asked, how is the divine pleased? Sriji Maharaj answered, a person who wants to please the divine should not wish for bodily comforts. They should not even crave for the darshan, for the witnessing of the divine. In fact, to do exactly as the divine commands is the only means to please the divine. Then Lakshmananand Swami asked, with what understanding is one able to feel the wonder of having attained the profound association of the divine and his sadhus, his monks? Also, how can one feel elated all day and night? This is a longer passage, IMC. Sriji Maharaj replied, a devotee realizes this divinity and these sadhus all reside in Vaikuntha, Golok and Brahmapur, the abode of the divine. In fact, all of those abodes are present wherever the divine and these sadhus reside. Therefore, I am extremely fortunate in that I am able to stay in the presence of these sadhus. If they understand this, then they will experience awe all day and night, and will sway in an ocean of bliss throughout the day. This is a tough one. Paramatmanand Swami, it's a good name, Paramatmanand, which means the bliss of the higher self, then asked, how can one acquire the so-called 30 attributes of a sadhu, described in the 11th canto of the Srimad Bhagavat? Sriji Maharaj replied, a person who regards the sant, who possesses the 30 attributes as a guru and as a deva, and associates with them by thought, word, and deed, acquires those 30 attributes. In fact, all of the scriptures state, when one serves the sant, one becomes like the sant. Sant means holy person. Thereafter, Shantanand Swami asked, there is one devotee who constantly maintains their vritti, their thought force, on the form of the divine. There is another devotee who engages in worship and remembrance, and also listens to and engages in discourses and devotional songs related to the divine. Which devotee of the divine is the better of the two? Sriji Maharaj explained, they who experience nirvikalpa samadhi and is not conscious of their body is the better of the two. Even if they do not engage in discourses and devotional songs related to the divine. However, there may be someone who is conscious of their body and gets up from worship of their own accord to eat, drink, and perform all bodily activities, yet does not listen to or engage in the discourses and devotional songs related to the divine. In comparison to them, a person who listens to or engages in discourses and devotional songs is better. Adharanand Swami then asked, how should we behave so that the divine and their sant become pleased? Sriji Maharaj replied, if we strictly adhere to the 5 religious vows and do not allow any sort of lapse in their observance, the divine and his sant will be pleased. There is not even the slightest doubt about this. Then Vedantanand Swami asked, his name means the bliss of the end of the scriptures, what can a person who previously behaved improperly do to please the divine and his sant? Sriji Maharaj answered, the divine and his sant become displeased upon seeing impure swabhavs. These are big sentiments that people carry with them that often, limit themselves or make others feel limited. That's the nature of a swabhav. When we develop enmity towards those swabhavs, not to the person, but towards the sentiments they carry, the sant also realizes this, because whenever one bears animosity towards someone, the whole world knows. Consequently, the sant, the saint, who themselves is also an enemy of those swabhavs, those sentiments, sides with us and bestows compassion upon us, showing us the way to conquer those swabhavs by whichever means possible. Therefore, developing bitter hatred towards the particular base swabhav that has led to one's disgrace, one should adopt means that would totally uproot it. When we behave in this way, the divine and the divine saint shower total compassion upon us. Whenever the divine and the divine's disciples shower their compassion, one continues to experience extreme bliss within one's heart. Also, one's capacity to walk on the path of liberation increases, and the strength of one's enemies, lust, anger, avarice, etc., decreases. Thus, the divine does help one who keeps intense enmity towards that bitter enemy, which causes distress within one's heart. That is why it is necessary to bear animosity for one's enemies of lust, anger, etc. It is thus very beneficial to develop enmity towards one's inner enemies. Thereafter, Bhagwan Swami, which means the bliss of the personal form of the divine, asked, Maharaj, just as one fears the divine when one is near them, what understanding should one have so that one fears the divine just as much when one is far away from him? And here we're using the ancient usage of the term fear, which refers to a sense of awe and an understanding of surrender. Sriji Maharaj explained, just as one maintains the respect of the divine when he is near, the same respect remains when he is far. If one thoroughly understands the glory, just how amazing the divine is, that glory should be understood as follows. Purushottam Bhagwan, the highest personal form of divinity, who transcends Akshar, by whose wish countless millions of Brahmanans, universes are created, who by his power supports these Brahmanans, these universes, who is Vyatirek, yet is present within everything as Anvay, and while being Anvay is also Vyatirek from everything, who dwells within each and every atom in his Antaryami form, in the inner dwelling form, just as he is in his manifest form, without whose wish not even a blade of grass is able to flutter, who is responsible for creating, sustaining, and destroying millions, countless millions of Brahmanans, universes, who administers pain and pleasure to the beings residing therein, and who is the sole doer of all that happens, manifests on this planet for the liberation of the jivas, for the individual souls. Yet, when that very divinity mounts a horse, it appears that the horse is carrying him, though in reality it is the divine who is the upholder of the horse. Furthermore, when the divine sits on the earth, it seems that the earth is supporting the divine. Yet, in reality, it is the divine who supports the entire earth, along with its mobile and immobile forms of life. Moreover, at night, the light of the moon, an oil lamp, or a torch allow one to have the darshan of the divine. Or during the day, the light of the sun allows one to have the darshan of the divine. In reality, however, it is that divinity itself who provides the light to the sun, the moon, and the flames of fire. Such are the magnificent powers of the divine. Despite this, though, the divine has become like a human for the sake of the liberation of the jivas, and he is giving darshan to me. If one understands the glory of the divine in this manner, then one can keep the same respect for the divine when one is far from him as when one is near. Bhagavadanand Swami then asked another question. Boy, this is a long verse today, isn't it? Nothing happens without the divine will. That is, everything that happens is all the work of the divine alone. So, when the divine or his devotees encounter hardships, Why then does he not alleviate their distress? The dog agreed. Yeah. Why does he merely wish to alleviate their distress, but not act on it? Sriji Maharaj explained, when the divine assumes a human form, it is customary for him to behave in absolutely the same manner as humans do, and not to reveal his transcendental powers. This is how all of the actions and incidents of the divine are described in the scriptures. Therefore, one may entertain doubts only when the divine exhibits new actions, but as long as the actions of the divine are like those performed by the previous avatars, descensions, no doubt should be entertained. Then, Nirmalananda Swami asked, what understanding is required to thoroughly realize the glory, the amazingness of the Sant of God? Sriji Maharaj replied, when one contemplates upon the greatness of Matsya, Katsya, Varaha, Vaman, Parshuram, Ram, Krishna, and the countless avatars, the descensions of the divine, by thinking, the divine has liberated countless jivas through Ram, Krishna, and other avatars. I am extremely fortunate that I have attained the profound association of the Sant, the saint of that very divinity. Then one begins to thoroughly realize the glory of the divine, day by day. Thereafter, Narayananand Swami asked, how is the jiva anvay with the three bodies of Sthul, Sukshma, and Karan? These are the waking, dreaming, deep sleep. Or is it the physical, the subtle, and the causal body? How is it vyatarek, separate from them? How is the jiva separate from the physical body, from the subtle body, and the causal body? Sriji Maharaj answered, when the body encounters pleasure and pain, and the jiva assumes that pleasure and pain upon itself, the jiva is anva, it's one with the three bodies. If we identify with these experiences. When it believes itself to be distinct from the pleasures and pains of the three bodies, then the jiva is vyatirek, separate from them. Shunyatitanand Swami then asked, when a person practices satsang initially, when they associate with fellow spiritual seekers, they have deep affection for the Sant, for the saint, and the satsangis, the fellow spiritual seekers. But why does their affection later decline? Sriji Maharaj explained, initially, they hold the Sant in very high respect. Later, however, when they perceive a minor flaw in the Sant, they regard it as a major flaw because of their own malicious mind. As a result, their vicious nature flourishes and their respect for the Sant declines. Then, if they thoughtfully eradicate their own vicious nature, they become as pure as they were before. However, if they do not do so, ultimately they fall from the satsang fellowship. Thereafter, Prasadanand Swami asked, what is the cause of the jiva's liberation? Sriji Maharaj answered, to do exactly as the Sant says, without harboring any doubts, is the only cause of the jiva's liberation, the individual soul's liberation. Then, Trigunatitanand Swami asked, what means should one adopt when faced with adverse places, times, actions, and company? Sriji Maharaj explained, the only way to overcome adverse places, times, etc. is to flee from them by any means. Junior Nirvikaranand Swami then asked, despite having faith in the divine, why are not one's vicious desires eradicated? Sriji Maharaj replied, one's vicious desires are not eradicated because one has not fully realized just how amazing the divine is. Then, Senior Yoganand Swami asked, how many Swamis are here? A lot of them today. This is the bliss of yoga, is what his name means. Despite having perfect faith in the divine, why does a person still not develop affection for the divine and the discourses related to the divine? Sriji Maharaj explained, it is because he has not yet realized, or they have not yet realized, the glory, the amazingness of the divine as it is. If a person does thoroughly realize the glory of divinity, then do they not develop affection for anything besides God, even if they try? In addition, they develop unflinching affection only for the divine personalities, and the discourses and devotional songs related to. Then Pratoshanand Swami asked, how can one's bhakti, loving devotion towards the divine, remain unflinching? Sriji Maharaj replied, if a person thoroughly understands the glory of the manifest form of Sri Krishna Purushottam, which I have a picture for here, who is the cause of the four emanations, i.e. Aniruddha, Pradyumna, Sankarshan, and Vasudev, the cause of the 24 forms, in other words, Keshava, etc., and the cause of Varaha, and the other avatars, the other dissensions. Then they remain unflinching in the 9 types of bhakti, the 9 types of loving devotion towards that divinity. In other words, listening to talks of the divine, singing devotional songs, etc. We're on the last page. After answering the questions of all the munis in this way, all of the scholars, Sriji Maharaj asked them all, lust, anger, avarice, these 3 are the gateways to Narak, the lower realm. All of you, please reveal if you have thoroughly conquered any of these. The munis, the scholars, then spoke regarding whatever each one had resolved. Hearing this from the munis, Sriji Maharaj became extremely pleased. After gladly imprinting his holy feet on the chests of Atmanand Swami, Yogananda Swami, Bhagwadanand Swami, and Shivanand Swami, he added, just as Mahanu Bhavanand Swami and the others are senior munis, these 4 should also be considered senior along with them. They're moving up in the Swaminarayan world. Therefore, do not allow anyone to insult them. Having appealed to Muktanand Swami and other senior sadhus in this way, Sriji Maharaj bid Jai Sachitananda, victory to existence, consciousness, and bliss, to everyone, and returned to his residence for his meals. And thus we conclude the end of Gadhadā 1 entirely. This whole part of the book that we've read with Bible-thin pages has just been dedicated to Gadhadā 1. So that was the grand finale of this first section. Thank you for listening. That was a 40-minute passage. My goodness. All right.